The wedding that never was. The crystal chandeliers cast rainbow patterns across the marble floor of St. Catherine's Cathedral. Elena Martinez stood in the bridal suite, her hands trembling as she adjusted the delicate lace veil that cascaded down her back. The ivory gown hugged her curves perfectly, thousands of tiny pearls sewn by hand into the bodice. This was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. "You look like a princess," her mother whispered, tears streaming down her face. "Lucas is so lucky to have you." Elena smiled, though her stomach churned with unexpected nervousness. She had loved Lucas Chan since college, when he was just an ambitious business student and she was studying art history. Now, 5 years later, he had built his father's company into an empire, and she had turned her passion into a successful gallery. They were the golden couple of San Francisco's elite society. "5 minutes, Miss Martinez," the wedding coordinator called from the doorway. Elena took a deep breath. Through the ornate doors, she could hear the string quartet playing softly. 300 guests waited in the pews. Her father stood ready to walk her down the aisle. Everything was perfect. Too perfect. The doors burst open with a violent crash that made everyone jump. Elena's younger sister Sophia stumbled in, her face flushed and her designer dress wrinkled. She clutched a manila envelope in her shaking hands. "Stop! Stop the wedding!" Sophia cried, her voice breaking with what sounded like genuine anguish. "I'm so sorry, Elena. I'm so sorry. But you need to see this before you marry him." Elena's mother rushed forward. "Sophia, what are you doing? Have you lost your mind?" "I wish I had," Sophia sobbed, thrusting the envelope at Elena. "I found these last night. I didn't want to believe it, but the evidence is right here. Lucas has been lying to all of us." Elena's hands shook as she opened the envelope. Inside were photographs. Her breath caught in her throat. The images showed Lucas in intimate embraces with a woman, kissing her, holding her. The timestamps showed dates from the past 6 months, the same months Lucas had been claiming to work late on business deals. "No," Elena whispered. "This can't be real." "There's more," Sophia said, pulling out her phone. "I hired a private investigator after I saw them together at a restaurant last month. I didn't want to tell you until I was sure. The woman's name is Victoria Reed. She's the daughter of Lucas's biggest business competitor. They've been meeting secretly for months." The wedding coordinator's voice crackled through the radio. "We have a situation. The groom is asking what's happening." Elena's world spun. She looked at the photos again, studying Lucas's face. The smile he wore in these pictures, it was the same intimate smile he gave her. Or had given her. How long had he been pretending? "I need to talk to him," Elena said, her voice hollow. She gathered her dress and walked out of the bridal suite, ignoring her mother's protests. The whisper started the moment she appeared in the cathedral hallway. Guests craned their necks to see what was happening. Elena walked straight to the altar, where Lucas stood in his perfectly tailored tuxedo, looking confused and increasingly alarmed. "Elena, what's wrong?" he asked, reaching for her hand. She pulled away, holding up the photographs. "Who is Victoria Reed?" The color drained from Lucas's face. For a moment, just a moment, she saw guilt flash in his eyes. Then his expression hardened into something she'd never seen before, cold calculation. "Where did you get those?" he demanded. "Answer the question, Lucas. Who is she?" A sister's ultimate betrayal. The cathedral had gone completely silent. 300 people held their collective breath, watching the drama unfold at the altar. Lucas's father, Chairman Chun, stood from his seat in the front row, his face thunderous. "Lucas, explain yourself," the elder Chun commanded. "Now." Lucas looked at Elena, and for a fleeting second she thought she saw remorse. Then he straightened his shoulders and addressed the crowd, his voice carrying through the vaulted space. "I can't marry someone I don't trust," he announced. "Elena, you've been secretly meeting with my business rival, Daniel Morrison, for months. You've been sharing confidential information about my company. These photos you're showing, they're doctored. Sophia warned me you might try something like this when I refused to merge your family's company with mine on your terms." Elena felt like she'd been slapped. "What? Lucas, that's insane. I would never." "I have proof," he continued, pulling out his own phone. He connected it to the church's projection system, and suddenly the large screens meant to display their wedding vows showed something else entirely. Video footage of Elena meeting with Daniel Morrison in various locations. Coffee shops. Restaurants. His office. Elena's stomach dropped. Yes, she had met with Daniel, but only because he was interested in investing in her gallery's expansion. It was completely legitimate business. But the way the footage was edited, the way their conversations were cut and spliced, it looked damaging. It looked like betrayal. I met with him about gallery funding, Elena protested, but her voice sounded weak even to her own ears. Lucas, you know I was planning to expand. We talked about this. You talked about needing money, Lucas said coldly. You never mentioned going behind my back to my biggest competitor. How do I know you weren't planning to steal company secrets and sell them? Your gallery has been struggling financially for months. The accusation hit like a physical blow. Yes, the gallery had faced challenges, but she had never ever considered betraying Lucas. She looked around desperately for support. Her mother looked confused and horrified. Her father's face was stone. And Sophia? Sophia stood in the doorway of the bridal suite, tears streaming down her face, playing the role of the heartbroken sister who had discovered the terrible truth. But as their eyes met, Elena saw something flicker in her sister's expression. Something triumphant. In that moment, everything clicked into place. The photos were too convenient. The video footage was too perfectly edited. And Sophia had been the one to bring it all to light, playing the reluctant messenger. You, Elena breathed, staring at her sister. You did this. Sophia's tears came harder. Elena, please. I know you're upset, but don't blame me for trying to protect Lucas. I love you, but I couldn't let you destroy a good man. Ladies and gentlemen, Chairman Chen's voice boomed through the cathedral. This wedding is cancelled. My son will not marry a woman of such questionable character. The Chun family does not associate with corporate spies and liars. The guests erupted in whispers and gasps. Elena stood frozen at the altar, her perfect wedding dress now feeling like a costume, a mockery. Lucas wouldn't even look at her. He turned and walked away, his groomsmen following like a protective phalanx. Lucas, please. Elena called after him, but he didn't stop. She ran after him, her heels clicking on the marble floor, her veil streaming behind her. She caught up to him in the cathedral's private garden, where he stood with his back to her. Lucas, listen to me. I never betrayed you. Those meetings were legitimate. Someone is setting me up. Can't you see that? He finally turned, and the look in his eyes was pure ice. I loved you, Elena. I was going to spend my life with you. But you got greedy. You wanted more than I was willing to give your struggling little gallery, so you went to my enemy. That's not true. Save it, he snapped. My lawyers will be in contact about the property we bought together. Consider our relationship finished. And Elena? If I find out you've shared any confidential information about Chin Industries, I will destroy you and your family's company. That's not a threat. It's a promise. He walked away, leaving Elena standing alone in the garden, her wedding dress brilliant white in the afternoon sun, her dreams shattered around her feet. Flames of destruction. Elena didn't remember much about the rest of that day. She remembered her mother's quiet disappointment, her father's angry silence during the drive home to the Martinez family mansion, Sophia's convincing performance of sisterly concern, offering to stay with Elena in her room. I'm so sorry this happened, Sophia had whispered, hugging her. But maybe it's for the best. Lucas wasn't right for you anyway. Elena had been too numb to respond. She lay in her childhood bedroom, still wearing her wedding dress, staring at the ceiling as afternoon faded into evening. Her phone buzzed constantly with messages from friends, colleagues, and reporters wanting a statement about the scandal. She ignored them all. Around midnight, she finally found the strength to move. She needed to understand what had happened. She needed proof that she was being framed. Elena changed into jeans and a sweater, then went to her father's study where she kept backup files of all her business dealings. That's when she heard the voices. They came from her father's office down the hall. The door was slightly ajar, and Elena moved closer, her heart pounding. Through the crack, she saw Sophia and Lucas sitting on the leather sofa. sharing a bottle of her father's expensive scotch. That went better than I expected, Sophia said, her voice nothing like the tearful, concerned sister from earlier. It was cold, calculating. Did you see her face when you showed those videos? I thought she was going to faint. Lucas laughed, actually laughed. Your editing skills are impressive. I almost believe she was guilty myself. We make a good team, Sophia purred, moving closer to him. Now that she's out of the way, we can finally be together publicly. No more sneaking around. Elena's hand flew to her mouth, stifling a gasp. She watched in horror as Sophia leaned in and kissed Lucas. A deep, passionate kiss that spoke of long familiarity. This wasn't new. This wasn't a sudden attraction born from the day's drama. They'd been together for a while. How long? Elena whispered to herself, but she already knew. All those late nights Lucas claimed to be working. All those times Sophia had conveniently been traveling for her marketing job. They'd been together the whole time. My father's going to be devastated when he finds out his precious Elena drove away his perfect son-in-law, Sophia said, trailing her fingers down Lucas's chest. He'll probably write her out of the will. Maybe even remove her from the board of Martinez Holdings. That's the plan, Lucas confirmed. With Elena discredited, your father will turn to you. And when you and I get married, we'll merge Martinez Holdings with Chen Industries. Everything we've worked for. Everything you deserve, Sophia corrected. You were always too good for my boring, self-righteous sister. She never understood ambition. Never understood power. Elena's hand shook with rage. She pulled out her phone and started recording, capturing their conversation, their casual cruelty, their conspiracy. She had enough. She had proof. She burst through the door, her phone held high. Did you really think I wouldn't figure it out? Sophia jumped up, her face going pale. Lucas stood more slowly, his expression calculating. Elena, he said carefully, this isn't what it looks like. Really? Because it looks like my sister and my fiancé have been having an affair while framing me for corporate espionage. It looks like you destroyed my reputation, and my wedding is part of some twisted scheme to steal my family's company. She held up her phone. And I have it all recorded. Sophia's shock transformed into something uglier. Pure hatred. You always had everything handed to you. The perfect daughter. The perfect fiancé. The perfect life. For once I wanted what you had. I deserve it more than you ever did. You deserve nothing, Elena spat. And when I show father this recording, when I show the world what you both really are. Lucas moved faster than she expected. He lunged forward and grabbed her phone, throwing it against the wall where it shattered into pieces. You have no proof now, he said quietly, dangerously. And no one will believe the desperate accusations of a discredited woman. Father will believe me. Mother will believe me. Sophia laughed bitterly. Will they? After we tell them how you became unstable? How you broke into father's study in the middle of the night, drunk and raving about conspiracies? How you attacked us when we tried to calm you down? Elena looked between them, seeing the trap close. They'd thought of everything. Guards. Sophia screamed suddenly. Help! Elena's gone crazy. She's attacking us. 2 security guards burst into the room. They were new hires, men Elena didn't recognize. Men who likely knew only what they'd been told about the scandalous almost bride who'd betrayed the Chun family. Miss Martinez, you need to calm down, one guard said, reaching for her arm. Elena jerked away. Call my father. Call him right now. Your parents left for their vacation home an hour ago, Sophia said smoothly, producing tears with practiced ease. They were so upset by what happened today. Elena, please let us help you. You're not well. I'm not going anywhere with you, Elena said, backing toward the door. But the guards blocked her path. Lucas and Sophia exchanged a look Elena couldn't quite read, but that sent ice through her veins. Take her upstairs to her room, Lucas ordered the guards. Lock the door. Dr. Chun will be here in an hour to give her something to help her sleep. She's clearly having a breakdown. No. Elena struggled, but the guards were too strong. They dragged her upstairs to her bedroom and locked her inside. Elena ran to the window, but it was a 3-story drop to the ground. She pounded on the door, screaming for help, but the mansion was too large, too empty. Her parents were gone. The staff had been given the night off after the wedding disaster. She was alone, the stranger in the smoke. An hour passed. Then two. Elena had tried everything, breaking the window, forcing the door, even attempting to climb down the exterior wall using bedsheets. Nothing worked. The security guards were stationed outside her door, deaf to her pleas. Around 3 a.m. she smelled smoke. At first she thought she was imagining it, but the acrid scent grew stronger, and she saw wisps of gray smoke curling under her bedroom door. "Fire!" she screamed, pounding on the door. "There's a fire. Let me out." No response. The smoke thickened. Elena could hear the crackle of flames now, growing louder. She ran to the window and looked down. Orange light flickered on the ground floor. The entire bottom of the mansion was burning. They'd set the house on fire. With her inside, Sophia and Lucas were going to kill her and make it look like an accident. The unstable bride, driven mad by her ruined wedding, accidentally set fire to the mansion in her disturbed state. Elena grabbed a lamp and smashed the window. The fresh air fed the fire, and flames erupted into her room with terrifying speed. The heat was overwhelming. Smoke filled her lungs. She hung halfway out the window, 3 stories up, with fire at her back and certain death below. This was how she would die. Betrayed, alone, and forgotten. Then she saw him. A black helicopter descended from the sky, its spotlight sweeping across the burning mansion. A figure leaned out of the open door. A man dressed in black, with dark hair whipped by the rotor wash. He held a rope. "Jump!" he shouted over the roar of flames and helicopter blades. Elena didn't hesitate. She climbed onto the window ledge, the heat blistering her back, and leaped into the void. For a terrifying moment she was falling. Then strong arms caught her, and she slammed against a hard chest. The man hauled her into the helicopter with surprising strength, and they shot upward, away from the inferno. Elena collapsed on the helicopter floor, coughing violently, her lungs burning. Through watering eyes, she looked up at her rescuer. He was probably in his mid-30s with sharp features, intense dark eyes, and an air of controlled power. His expensive suit was now smudged with soot from catching her, but he didn't seem to care. He studied her with an expression she couldn't read, part curiosity, part calculation. "Who are you?" Elena managed to gasp. "Someone who's very interested in seeing Lucas-chan and Sofia Martinez get what they deserve," he replied, his voice deep and cultured. "My name is Dante Russo." Below them, the Martinez mansion burned like a funeral pyre, consuming her old life in flames. A devil's bargain. Dante's helicopter touched down on the helipad of a gleaming skyscraper in downtown San Francisco. Elena, still coughing and disoriented, allowed him to guide her inside a penthouse that was all floor-to-ceiling windows, modern art, and cold luxury. A woman in a white coat appeared immediately. "I'm Dr. Sarah Lynn," she said gently. "Let me check you for injuries." While the doctor examined her, cleaning minor burns and checking her lungs, Elena watched Dante. He stood by the windows, phone pressed to his ear, speaking in rapid Italian. He moved with the confidence of someone used to power to getting his way. "You'll be fine," Dr. Lin finally announced. "Miraculously, no serious injuries. Rest for a few days and you'll recover." After the doctor left, Dante poured 2 glasses of whiskey and handed one to Elena. She accepted it with shaking hands. "How did you know?" she asked. "How did you know I was in danger?" "I've been watching Lucas-chan for months," Dante replied, settling into a leather chair across from her. "I have surveillance on his properties, his associates. When I saw him and your sister enter your family's mansion tonight, I had my team monitor the situation. When they started the fire, I intervened." "Why? Why would you be watching Lucas?" Dante's expression darkened. "Because Lucas-chan destroyed my family. 5 years ago, my younger sister Isabella fell in love with him. She was 19, naive, and completely devoted. Lucas used her to get information about my father's company, then crushed her publicly when he was done with her. Isabella. She couldn't handle the humiliation. She took her own life." Elena's breath caught. "I'm so sorry. I've been planning my revenge ever since," Dante continued, his voice cold. "Gathering information, waiting for the right moment. When I heard about your engagement to Lucas, I started watching you too. I saw what your sister was doing, the affair, the conspiracy. I considered warning you, but... He shrugged. I wanted to see how it played out. You watched them destroy me, Elena said bitterly. You let them humiliate me in front of everyone. I did, Dante agreed without apology. Because now you want what I want. Revenge. Elena looked into her whiskey glass, seeing her reflection in the amber liquid. 12 hours ago, she had been about to marry the love of her life. Now she was homeless, her reputation destroyed, nearly murdered by the two people she trusted most. What are you proposing? She asked quietly. Dante leaned forward, his dark eyes intense. Marry me. A business arrangement, a fake marriage. For 1 year you'll be my wife in public. In return, I'll give you everything you need to destroy Lucas and Sophia. Money, resources, connections, evidence. I have files on all of Lucas's illegal business dealings, his shell companies, his tax evasion. I can prove what they did to you. But more than that, I can teach you how to play their game. How to hit them where it really hurts. Their ambitions, their power, their money. Why do you need me? If you have all this evidence, why not destroy him yourself? Because my vendetta with Lucas is known in business circles, Dante explained. Anything I do against him looks like a corporate rivalry. But you? You're the innocent victim. The wronged bride. When you rise from the ashes and strike back, everyone will see it as justice. And together we can dismantle everything he's built. Elena thought about Sophia's hateful face. Lucas's cruel laughter. The way they tried to burn her alive like she was nothing. What do you get out of this? She asked. Besides revenge? A wife, even a fake one, gives me legitimacy, Dante said frankly. I'm expanding into new markets, and being married to a Martinez, an established American family, will open doors. Plus, your gallery connections in the art world are valuable. I collect art. It's a mutually beneficial arrangement. And after 1 year? Clean divorce. No strings. You keep whatever wealth we accumulate in that time, I keep my business gains, and we both get the satisfaction of seeing Lucas-chan brought to his knees. Elena stood and walked to the windows, looking out at the city sparkling below. Somewhere out there, Sophia and Lucas were probably watching the mansion burn on the news, satisfied with their night's work. They thought she was dead. They thought they'd won. I want to make them suffer, Elena admitted, her voice hard. I want them to lose everything the way I did. I want them to know betrayal and humiliation and fear. Then we have a deal? Dante asked, standing beside her. Elena turned to face him. This man was dangerous, she could sense it. His motivations were selfish, his methods questionable. Agreeing to this deal meant entering a dark world she didn't fully understand. But Lucas and Sophia had tried to murder her. They'd taken everything. And Elena Martinez was done being the victim. We have a deal, she said, extending her hand. Dante shook it, his grip firm and warm. Welcome to your new life, Mrs. Russo. Awakening to a new reality. Elena woke the next morning in a bedroom more luxurious than anything she'd ever experienced. The bed was enormous, the sheets were Egyptian cotton, and the attached bathroom was all marble and gold fixtures. For a moment, she thought the previous night had been a nightmare. Then she saw the news on the bedroom's smart TV, automatically displaying the morning headlines. Tragedy. Martinez mansion burns, heiress presumed dead. Elena sat up, watching in surreal detachment as reporters stood outside the smoldering ruins of her childhood home. Her parents had been notified and were rushing back from their vacation. Sophia gave a tearful interview, playing the devastated sister perfectly. Elena was so upset about the wedding, Sophia sobbed for the cameras. I should have stayed with her. I should have known she was in danger of hurting herself. This is all my fault. You evil. Elena started to shout at the screen, but her voice cracked. A knock at the door interrupted her rage. Dante entered, dressed impeccably in a charcoal suit, carrying a tray with breakfast and coffee. You need to eat, he said simply, setting the tray down. We have a lot to do today. They're telling everyone I'm dead, Elena said, gesturing at the TV. My parents think I'm dead. Yes, and that's perfect, Dante replied. Right now Sophia and Lucas think they've won. They'll get comfortable, maybe even make mistakes. Meanwhile, you'll undergo a complete transformation. New look, new name, new identity. In 6 months, you'll return to society as my wife, someone they've never met. By the time they realize who you really are, it will be too late. 6 months? I can't let my parents think I'm dead for 6 months. Your parents are currently being informed that you survived, Dante said calmly. My people will contact them privately, show them you're safe, but convince them that for your protection the world needs to believe you died. They'll be told you're recovering in a private facility abroad. They won't like it, but they'll cooperate once they see the evidence of what Sophia and Lucas did. Elena absorbed this. Dante had already thought of everything. And the police? The investigation into the fire. My team is ensuring the investigation focuses on electrical failure, Dante said. But privately, I have forensic evidence showing accelerant was used. Evidence will reveal at the right time. For now, Lucas and Sophia walk free. But not for long. Elena looked at this stranger who had become her unlikely ally. Why are you really doing this? And don't give me the business marriage answer. You could accomplish your goals without me. Dante was quiet for a moment, a shadow passing over his features. My sister Isabella wrote me a letter before she died. In it, she said she wished someone had taught her how to be strong, how to fight back. She thought love meant accepting everything, even cruelty. I couldn't save her. But maybe I can help you save yourself. And maybe along the way we both get justice. It was the most honest thing he'd said to her. Elena nodded slowly. So what happens now? She asked. Now you begin your training, Dante said with a slight smile. You're going to learn everything you need to know about power, manipulation, and revenge. By the time you walk back into San Francisco society, Elena Martinez will be dead. But Dante Russo's mysterious new wife will be very much alive. And she'll be unstoppable. Elena looked at her reflection in the bedroom mirror. Her hair was singed, her face smudged with soot, her eyes haunted. She looked like a victim. Like prey. Never again. When do we start? She asked, meeting Dante's eyes in the mirror. His smile widened. Right now. Part 2, The Phoenix Rises. Learning to play the game. 6 months had passed since Elena Martinez died in the flames of her family's mansion. 6 months since she'd made a deal with a devil named Dante Russo. Now she stood in front of a full-length mirror in Dante's penthouse, barely recognizing herself. Her once long dark brown hair was now cut in a sleek shoulder-length style with subtle honey blonde highlights that made her green eyes luminous. Her figure had transformed through rigorous training with Dante's personal fitness coach. But the biggest change wasn't physical. It was the way she carried herself. Gone was the soft, trusting woman who'd stood at the altar 6 months ago. In her place was someone harder, sharper, dangerous. Again, Dante commanded from across the training room. Elena turned to face her opponent, Marcus, one of Dante's security team members. He lunged at her, but she was ready. She sidestepped, using his momentum against him, and swept his legs out from under him. He hit the mat hard. Better, Dante acknowledged. But you hesitated before the sweep. In a real situation, that hesitation could cost you. In a real situation, I'll be at a charity gala, not fighting off attackers, Elena pointed out, accepting Marcus's hand to help him up. Maybe, Dante said, his dark eyes serious. But Sophia and Lucas tried to kill you once. They might try again when they realize who you are. You need to be prepared for anything. The self-defense training was just one part of Elena's transformation. Over the past 6 months, Dante had subjected her to an intensive education that covered everything from corporate espionage to social manipulation. Mornings were spent learning the intricacies of business warfare from Dante's top executives. Elena had always been creative and artistic, but she'd never understood the ruthless world of high-stakes finance. Now she could read a balance sheet like a thriller novel, spotting weaknesses and opportunities that would have been invisible to her before. Chun Industries has been bleeding money for months, she told Dante during one strategy session, pointing to a detailed financial report. Lucas is propping up the stock price with his reputation, but the company itself is built on unstable foundations. Half their major contracts are secured through bribes and questionable dealings. Good, Dante said, impressed. What's the weak point? The Morrison deal, Elena replied immediately. Lucas's biggest upcoming project is the development of the Morrison Technology Campus. But the funding is contingent on City Council approval, and 3 of the 5 council members are persuadable. If someone were to present a better offer, with cleaner credentials, then Lucas loses his flagship project and his investors lose confidence, Dante finished. Excellent work. Afternoons were devoted to learning the subtle art of social manipulation. Dante hired a former intelligence officer named Victoria Chong to teach Elena how to read people, how to lie convincingly, and how to extract information without anyone realizing they were being interrogated. Everyone has a weakness, Victoria explained during one lesson. Your sister Sophia's weakness is her need for validation. She wants to be seen as sophisticated, cultured, better than you ever were. Play to that vanity and she'll reveal more.